Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome.
My 13-year.
All right, so we are we are in the Sacred Treasure House event group today, and it is game day. And I want to thank Miss Deborah, Miss Lisa, and Miss Tanya for hosting these events and for allowing me to be part of it. I appreciate that very, very much. I am going to get myself sprinkled out here. I am the last presenter for today's event. If you have missed any of today's presenters, you can go and see everybody back in the free event group. The link is in the description, so make sure that you go and see that. We are going to be working on a journal cover together. So come on in, and let's have some fun together. So thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it very, very much. So we're gonna get started, okay? So first things first, we have to get our base cut, and I'm using, this is the back of a 12 by 12 paper pad. You know, they have these pieces of, you know, thicker cardboard on the back. These are great to repurpose for journal covers and such. So if you have them, you know, definitely can repurpose them for that. So we're gonna start by doing some measuring, okay? And that is because I need to make sure that I can get out the pieces that I need. So when I build a journal, okay, I'm normally using 12 by 12. I'm normally using 8.5 by 11 page as my base, because many times I use printables, especially like in this case, I'm making a baby memory book, so I am using a printable kit. And so because I'm using a printable kit, then I want to make sure that that 8.5 by 11 page, when it's folded in half, it needs to sit comfortably inside of this cover. So for that purpose, our height needs to be a minimum of 9. Okay, it needs to be a minimum of 9 inches as far as our height goes. Okay, so I'm just going to mark a few so that I can cut this and make sure that I'm going to cut this evenly. Because even when hi there, Miss Barbara. Oh, hey, Miss Barbara from Barbara's Blessings. How are you doing, dear? Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. So I am going to do this first cut, okay? And again, this is the back cover of, you know, this is the back of a paper pad. We can start by eliminating right here, because it's not like we can use that part. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And sometimes it does require a pass or two. because it is, you know, that thicker cardboard. Okay, so I am going to now trim down at the 9-inch mark that I made for myself. So how has everybody been? Has everybody been able to enjoy today's event? I hope you have. I hope you've been able to check some of these amazing creators out and see what all they are creating. Oh, thank you, dear. I appreciate you very, very much. I was wondering, yeah, because I hadn't seen anybody, so I was wondering what was going on. So after I have my height of 9 inches, now I need to make the cuts of the width, okay? So again, if I'm taking trying to grab a piece of paper here. If I take a 9.5 by 11 piece of paper, right, and I have folded it down, okay, so see how the 9 inches has given me the height so that I can make sure that I have space left over in the top and the bottom, okay? So that's why we do 9. All right, now the next is going to be, we have to remember that our spine is going, you know, our pages are going to butt up to our spine. So the edge that we leave, okay, we have to measure up till this line. So in this case, we are looking at it being at 5 3/4. Hi, Miss Tanya. So 5 3/4, okay, is the height that we are going to, you know, the width that we're going to need. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, Miss Barbara was saying she was having issues as well. So we're gonna cut this and then we're going to cut the next. Oh, I miss you too, Miss Carla. How are you doing, my sweetie? I miss you, my Cajun queen. I tell you, I'm for real. You need to think about retiring over this a ways. And that was very, very off. Thank you. I appreciate it. So it seems like it still did it right, but okay. I don't know what's going on. And it is straight. It's not like it's not straight. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. So remember, we are repurposing the back of a 12 by 12 paper pad, because this one came with a nice long you know, strong piece of cardboard that we could use for that. Yeah, I know. I know, baby. I understand. Believe me, I do. The next thing we have to consider is making the spine. Okay, so the spine, there's two measurements that we need to have. It needs to have the height that we gave our board pieces, and then whatever width of the spine that we want. Okay, so as far as the height goes, we had said, right, that it was the 9 inches. So I am going to take my pencil, wherever that ended up. Ramona! Hey, my friend, how are you? Long time, my friend, long time. Thank you for being here. And then I'm going to cut this at the width that I want. So I am going to do, I normally do between 1 inch and 1.5 inches. Okay, I normally do about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and I think we're going to go with the 1.5 inches this go around. Oh, well, I'm normally on, you know, usually really late. And I'm going to save the other piece because, you know, I could probably use it in the future. We don't throw anything away. So I'm on either really, really late, or then I have, like, the weirdest times. So this is the base of our journal, right? Front cover, back cover, and spine. Okay, so these are the 3 main pieces that you have to have. After you have this, then you can decide on, you know, like, what do you want your cover to be. And in my case, it is very specific because it is for a baby. Hey there, Miss Deborah, how are you doing, my friend? So because this is for a baby journal, okay, I want the outside to be quite puffy. So first things first, let's get this book put together. Okay, and I do have a 3-inch book box tape here, which is what I'm going to use. And this is going to be my foundation for my hinge. Okay. And I'm just going to put it right there. It's very sticky. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. So my spine, I'm going to put it down smack in the middle of my tape. And then I'm going to line up my, I'm going to use my ruler to help me give myself some space so that I don't go too close and I cannot have enough space for the hinge. Okay, because we have to have an equal space there for there to be the hinge. So, you know, use a ruler. You can use another piece of the same board that you're using, you know, a scrap piece if you have. Just anything that will help you to ensure that you're going to get it where it needs to be. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my tape up and down. And then we're going to varnish it. Varnish, burnish. Which just means that we're going to make sure that the glue from the tape melds into whatever base, and in this case it's the cardboard base. Now you can, we repurposed the back of a 12 by 12. You can use cereal boxes, you can use anything that you find. It does not necessarily have to be, go out and buy chipboard. You can repurpose old book covers that maybe you took apart for the pages. Alright, and so see, now we have a good sturdy base. Right? So this is going to be the beginning of my baby book. Okay? Now, because I want this to have a bit of a plush feel to it. I don't have, like if you have like interfacing, I think is what it's called, like what you use when you're making a quilt, the spongy stuff, you could use that, but I don't have any more. I used what I had up. So I'm going to use this very soft blanket type fabric that I have, and I'm going to put this underneath. This is going to be my plush. This is going to help give me that cushion that I need. Hello there, Miss Sissa. How are you doing, dear? And I don't need a whole lot because I just need it for the front. I don't need it to cover the back side. Okay, so this is quite a large piece that I think I got, if I remember right, in the clearance section of probably Hobby Lobby, because that's normally where I pick stuff up. And it's a lot larger than a normal scrap piece, but hey, I can definitely use it for stuff, right? Maybe I'll sit down and make a plushie out of it or something. I think I've already cut way more than enough, but that's fine. Yeah, almost perfect. Almost perfect. Look at that. Y'all were making some yummy food and making me hungry. I gotta go make dinner here and once I'm done. So, all of y'all doing all that cooking today. I mean, we had some ladies that crafted, but we had several who did cooking. Exactly, waste not, want not. Now, this is the fabric that I have picked for the cover because my sister wanted dinosaurs for her baby book. What I need to make sure is if I'm gonna see those colors underneath, and how do I feel about it. Because if I don't like how it feels, then we might have to play around with it a little bit, see what we can do. Okay, that's not as bad. That's not as bad, but it's still not as soft as I would like. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she asked for a little, she asked for dinosaurs for her for the baby book. So I'm going to actually cut this down to fit right on top, and we're just going to glue this straight down. We're going to glue it straight down, and then from there we're going to cut. And we'll save any extra pieces. Now if you are a good quilter, this is where you could use those skills, and you could actually pre-quilt the cover, and that would look really, really good. So, you know, just because maybe you do one thing does not mean that you cannot incorporate that talent into a different hobby, you know. Cross them over. Cross them over, bring them in, you know, do all the things with them, and make some fun. You can make some fun memory books that way. So I call these memory books because, I mean, we're going to use them to keep memories on. I know that is pretty much what scrapbookers do. So if you are a scrapbooker, just think of, you know, our junk journaling as another form. It just changes certain things. It's not maybe the exact format of 12 by 12s and albums in single layouts, but rather you're gonna add multiple layouts, you know, like because you'll have multiple sheets and things. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just putting down Fabrifix, Fabri-Tac, 3-in-1. Any of the Beacon glues work for your fabric and work best for this. They are a rubber glue, which is what allows them to have the flexibility with fabric, but they're also very, very strong. And I've tried other glues, but these always seem to be the better option. And because I want this to last, I am going to use the stronger option, of course. Yeah, this has a really pretty design to it. Like I said, I need to find some kind of a stuffy pattern because it would look really pretty as a stuffy. Oh, it'd be cute as a dragon or a dinosaur too. Or a cute little puppy. A dog. That would work too. I gotta go see what kind of patterns I have. So if you have missed today's event, it is game day. So the game that okay, so the way I understood it, the game that Miss Lisa from Lisa's Craft House, who is one of our admins from the Sacred Treasure House, what she proposed was, because it's back to school, to do trivia based off of stuff we did in school or that we learned in school and things of that nature. So I did say in the chat that this would be a little challenging because, as you know, I did not grow up, nor did I go to school here in the States. But I'm going to try. And we're going to see we're going to see how y'all do. How y'all fare. And we'll see how it goes. Okay? So the first trivia question, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be like geography / history. So we'll see how we do, okay? We'll see how we do. So very first thing is who can tell me how many countries, okay, make up Central America? How many countries make up Central America? That is where I went to school in Central America. So how many countries make up Central America? You're out of that answer. Most people in geography, I've noticed, don't seem to do too well. Any takers? So now I'm going to cut off the excess, okay? And we're going to save all of it. Anybody else? You're just guessing. So officially, okay, there are 7 countries that make up Central America. All right. You have Costa Rica, which is where I'm from, Panama. You have Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Belize. Oh, the question was how many countries make up Central America? It is 7. Thank you. Yeah, it is very pretty colors. I agree. That's why I picked it up. Because I thought it would make something really cute. Alright. Now, I want this to be a little more plush, so I think I'm going to put an extra layer on it. I'm trying to see if I have any interfacing here. No, I do not. Okay. So we're just going to put another layer. Alright, next question. Next question is where did I cut? So I can make sure I cut on the same edge again. Aha, here we go. Alright, next question. Out of those countries, which is the smallest? Out of those 7 countries, which is the smallest country for Central America? So out of the 7 countries that make up Central America, which is the smallest? Nope. Yes, Miss Tanya. El Salvador. El Salvador is teeny tiny. Alright. during no, Costa Rica's not that small. Costa Rica's not that small. She's small, but she's not the smallest. I'll put it that way. During the American Civil War, there was a general who wanted to conquer Central America for the U.S. He had conquered and set himself up almost as a dictator. Does anybody know his name? Does anybody know the general who decided to try and conquer Central America for the U.S. during the Civil War? So, any idea what the name of the general was that tried to conquer Central America for the U.S.? Any ideas? So I'm just putting a second one on top because I really want this to feel plush. Any clues? Anything? Anybody have any idea what the name of that general was? Do you hear crickets in your brain? A lot of people actually do. A lot of people, when I've asked, they don't know or they've never been taught. But in Central America, it's a big part of our history, and especially in Costa Rica, because he was stopped in the northern part of Costa Rica by just farmers. So his name was General Walker. General Walker. And like I said, it's an interesting part of history because with going to school outside of the U.S., you learn a lot of stuff that I've noticed that did not get taught or does not get taught here. Whether he was rogue or not, or he was sent by the government and they just tried to say they didn't. What do I do with my scissors now? I just had them and I need my fabric scissors. Did they fall on me? I didn't think so. Alright, we'll see if I can use these to cut. Alright, what country in Central America actually has English as its official language? What country in Central America actually has English as its official language? Thank you, Sissa. I know. Nope, not El Salvador. Not El Salvador. Anybody else have some guesses? Hi there, Miss Kathy. How are you doing, dear? Yeah, because Mexico is not part of Central America. Mexico is part of North America. So, last guess. Which country in Central America, its official language is English? Yes, Miss Ramona, it is Belize. That is why you have a lot of people that are retiring over there. Because you don't have to learn a whole new language. Yep. So, the country I grew up in, Costa Rica, we've established is in Central America. What ocean surrounds it? What ocean surrounds it? You guessed? Well, you guessed good. That was a good guess. That was a very good guess, my friend. Oh, thank you, Miss Deborah. You know, bookmaking is what I love to do. And like I said, if you are a quilter or a seamstress, you can actually quilt these covers quite easily and make them look so pretty. I've done some where I've hand stitched, but we're gluing today. I am not trying to hand stitch all of this. Pacific Ocean. That is partially correct. Yep, Miss Carla, that is partially correct. The Pacific Ocean. Wish I knew where my big scissors went to. So, Costa Rica is an isthmus, which means that it has water on two sides. One side being the Pacific, the other side being the Atlantic. This is true, Miss Smarty Pants. Alright, so now that I have gotten myself a nice plushy cover here, okay, on both sides, if you notice, I didn't put a second layer here because this is where we're going to sew through, and I really do not want to have a lot of stress on my needle and such when I go to sew on, you know, my pages in. So now we get to put our main cover fabric on, and this one, it is okay for it to overlap. For it to overlap, you want to have extra so that you can fold it inward, okay? So we will be doing that. So here goes another layer of our glue. And I am mainly going to focus on just the edge this go around. Yes, and it is very interesting because the beaches on both ends are different, because the water is different, just the whole environment is very different, which is really cool. Now I know there's other countries like Nicaragua and Honduras that also touch both of your oceans as well, because they do expand. Alright, so you see how cool this is? It's gonna give it this nice soft plush feel to it, which is what I'm wanting for this. It's a baby book. Not that the baby's gonna handle it, but it's a baby book, so I want it to feel nice and soft and all that stuff. So again, I'm just going on the edge for now. Now there's been, you know, obviously a lot of big figures throughout the Latin American world. But another one that we learn a lot about because of what he did. Hello there, dear. Hi there, Blueberry Hill. I didn't see you come in. I hope you are doing well, my friend. So, another person that is very big and that we learn about in history. Alright, and he has 2 countries named after him, was Simón Bolívar. And I do know that he is taught in the history classes. Oh no. Why didn't you take an allergy pill, my friend? I know I've popped in a little bit into everyone's lives to try to get you guys shared out. Everybody was doing, just like I said, either very yummy food, making me hungry, or made some cute crafts. I love the little cat cans. It's a good usage for them. Yeah, Bolivar. Simón Bolivar. So, what two countries were named after him? So, he was a military man who helped to unite a lot of the Hispanic countries and help them get away from Spanish rule. Hi there, Granny. How are you, dear? It was really nice to see you earlier. Okay, when you are doing your corners, okay, you need to miter your corners so that you don't have a whole bunch of pops up. Yes, Bolivia is one. Bolivia is one of the countries. Which is another country that was actually named after him? Yeah, Bolivia is one of them, that's for sure. What is another one? And he was actually born in this country, but it wasn't called this, what we call it today. What it was named after him. Nope, not Chile. Yes, Venezuela. Correct. Very, very good. So Bolivia and Venezuela were named after him. No, not Brazil and not Argentina. It was Bolivia and Venezuela. And Venezuela is actually the country that he was born in. So I am the last presenter for today's event. If you guys did miss anything, any of our presenters, we started at noon Eastern. So you can go back and see the presenters over at the Sacred Treasure House. That was a good guess. You've been to Venezuela? How cool. Now this inside here will, these flaps will get covered by probably paper. I'll probably end up covering this with paper on the inside. And I am pulling it to make sure that it is nice and tight. But yeah, so, you know, like I said in the chat, my trivia was going to be interesting because, you know, well, that happens a lot. Sadly, that happens a lot. There is a lot of crime in a lot of these countries. That is one of these sad things. And Venezuela is also under a dictatorship, which does not help the people at all. Well, I'm glad. Thank you again for having me, and I hope that you guys had some fun with my trivia questions. Like I said, I brought up General Walker because he is part of American history, but he does not get talked about. Yet he is taught in other countries because of the impact that he had. So I do find it interesting how different the accounts of history are. Oh, my pleasure. I have a lot of fun. I always loved, you know, science and history and geography were always like my thing. You know, we learned American history when we learned world history. But for the many, many years as when you're in elementary school, you learn a lot about our local history and about, you know, native history and things of that nature. So, look at how cute this is coming along. I'm going to show you guys. So I am cutting V's. Now the reason why I cut a V out is so that there is not going to be a lot when I go to fold, okay? Because remember, I'm still going to cover this with paper. So if there was fabric in paper, that would be a lot on that joint. And you know, when we build these books, these albums, these memory keepers, you know, journals, art journal, whatever you're doing it for, we're making them to last, right? We want them to last. So knowing these little tricks is important so that you don't put too much stress on that binding and that joint right there. Again, thank you, Miss Deborah from Sacred Sew, and Miss Tanya from Timeless Treasures by Tanya, and Miss Lisa from Lisa's Craft House for hosting the events here at the Sacred Treasure House. Thank you for allowing me to be in the group and to participate in events when I'm able to, one, grab a spot because they go very fast, and two, whenever I'm not like super crazy busy. Oh, so they got his passport, so did he have to go to the embassy and all that? And nowadays, I think in Venezuela there isn't an American embassy. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. I said I think, because of the bad relationship since their dictator's been in place. Alright, so this is what this is. Oh, well, here we go. This is what this is looking like. I totally had that like wrong. But this is what this is looking like. So see, it's nice and soft. It has this plush touch to it, which is what I wanted. And now all I have to do is cover the inside and then insert my pages for it. but it gives it a nice soft feel. It's going to feel soft to the touch, which is what I want, you know, because again, it is a baby book. Yes, of course. I'm glad that I was able to help out, and I really hope and pray that, you know, everything goes well. You guys keep everybody in your prayers. There's a lot of people are, you know, dealing with things and suffering, and there's a lot of harsh moments going on for families. So just keep each other in your prayers, and even if you don't know who to pray for, you know, just ask the Lord. He knows who to keep in. He knows who needs the prayers. That's all I'm gonna say. He knows who needs them, and that is what matters. So, you know, always reach out to our Father, because he knows. So keep each other in your prayers. I hope you guys have a blessed week. We're almost to the weekend, so that's a good thing. And yay. But thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it, for everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you ever have questions on building journals or anything of that nature, let me know. You know, I have my videos do go to YouTube, so you can see them there, and you can watch replays, and that way you can, you know, look at different versions of it. I know, right? Woohoo, it's Friday. It's Friday. I know. And Gary just told me that he has to work, so yay. But it's all good. It'll be all right. So thank you again, ladies, for having me. I know that I think I'm like a minute or two early, but I'm going to go ahead and hop off so that I can go wash my hands and start cooking some dinner, because y'all made me hungry. You know, Miss Tanya with her minestrone, Kathy with her soup, then you had Christina making brownies, like y'all. Not helping a girl, I'm just saying. So I'm gonna go and make some food, because I'm hungry. So it was a good thing I got to bump up. So thank you so much. Have a blessed weekend. I love you guys, and until I see you again, be blessed. Ciao.